Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra. That is Jarvis. And thank you guys for rocking with us as always. Thank you guys for continuing to download this podcast wherever you get your podcast and continue to give us 5-star reviews. We definitely appreciate you guys for that. And you know what else we can appreciate, Jarvis? When somebody gets a rating right, because it's always fun when everything Madden comes out, right? Whether it's a Madden
Right.
rating or the new Madden, who's going to make the cover, so on and so forth. So, anywho, after you kind of got through all of the guys who, the veterans, if you will, who may have been upset about their rating, then we get to rookie ratings. And check this. It may have taken the Falcons 74 picks to get their QB in Desmond Ridder, but up to that point, let's just be real. There was only one other quarterback who had been selected, that of my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers, selecting Kenny Pickett at number 20. Yeah,
Knew you was gonna slide that in.
yeah, I mean, Steeler Nation. But anyway, back to the Falcons. It was really a lack of quarterbacks. Like when you think
Right.
about all of the hoopla, it's really been about the class of 2023 and not so
Hmm.
much about the class of 2022. So it kind of makes sense that Desmond Ridder was there for the picking for the Falcons in that third round. And guess what? The lack of quarterbacks may actually make for the perception or lack thereof about this being, like I said, a weaker class. And Madden 23 actually agrees. Check this. Ritter received a 70 overall rating out of a possible 99, but that is the highest out of any rookie QB this year. So I ask you, do you agree with that rating when you think about not just Kenny Pickett, but you think about that entire class of QBs overall?
I think one of the things that comes in, the first thing that came to mind when I saw the rating is that the fact that he was there for, it was a 4-year guy, right?
Yeah.
He's been there for quite some time. He was
Mm-hmm.
successful. He had a good overall career, and I think a lot of people don't understand, but yeah, they do take that into consideration. I
Yeah.
understand. There's the breakdown of attributes and all that stuff like that, but I think that is taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that and another thing that I think that was taken into consideration is that the fact that there were some guys who thought that Desmond Ridder was the best quarterback out of
Yeah.
this class, and
True.
there were some concerns about Kenny Pickett and whether or
Mm-hmm.
not he's going to be that guy. And you see, Malik Willis was right there, right up under Desmond Ridder as well,
Yes.
because it's just, and I think that essentially how close this class was from an
Man.
evaluation standpoint
Mm.
was true in Madden. So I think this is kind
Yeah.
of right around. It's not like he's a 75 and everybody else is 65, but
Right.
everybody is right there next to each other. So, and I think that
Mhm.
that's how they were evaluated when
Yeah.
coming into the 2022 NFL draft. So, I think it's right where it's right
Mhm.
where it needs to be, and I think that it's going to be really interesting from a standpoint of playing time because Kenny Pickett at
Yeah.
the starting position is not like his. They signed Mitchell Trubisky, so he's there as well. So he
Yeah.
has to literally compete for the
Yeah.
spot. So I think both quarterbacks are. You laughing? I know. Yeah, but everybody think Mitchell Trubisky's don't turn his life around because that's what Buffalo quarterbacks do, right? So I'll go with that. I'll go with that narrative for now. So it's all good. So
Oh,
it's a competition. So I think that once we see how these competitions play out, I think that
my
there's going to be an interesting conversation as to playing time,
God.
success, and what that looks like going forward for both of those the quarterbacks.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I want to come back to that success part because I think that's going to be interesting to see what happens at the back end of the season. And like you said, a lot of it is dictated by are you going to have to start day one? Kenny Pickett, probably real talk. He probably will start a couple games in, right? Because
Right.
Steelers,
Yeah.
unless they see something amazing in training camp, they probably will give Mitch Trubisky the opportunity to be the starter, right? And it'll be
Right.
interesting. You look at even a Carolina. Is Matt Corral going to get a chance, an opportunity? Probably, but we
Right.
don't. Nobody really knows if that opportunity is going to come, day one because they went out and got Baker Mayfield. So,
Yeah.
in the Falcons, similar situation. We
Right.
don't all expect to see Desmond Ridder week one because of Marcus Mariota, but certainly we expect to see him at some point. So that kind of goes to my next point of when we look at Desmond Ridder, what do we think of as success for him this season?
You know what? To be honest with you, to get a good grasp of Arthur Smith and what he wants in his
Yeah.
offense, to be able to go to the huddle, call a play,
Hmm.
and and everybody understand where he's coming from,
Yes.
and be able to get to a point where he kind of knows or got a good idea is what Arthur Smith is
Yes.
thinking, excuse me, from what he's seeing on the field, and
Hmm.
those things line up, because at the
Yes.
end of the day, like, there is, like you said, there's a veteran in front of him that more
Hmm.
than likely is going to start day one.
Yes.
So you have to get all of the other aspects of the game, because you're
Hmm.
probably not going to get that playing time, right off the bat.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of understand all the other things that goes along with being a starting quarterback, understanding what the play call is, understanding
Hmm.
why he's calling that play. Because if you can
Yes.
understand the why as a
Hmm.
rookie, that you're setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
I think that's what success looks like. Understanding the why. Why is he
Hmm.
calling this plays? Why is he calling
Yeah.
this play in this particular situation while Marcus Mariota is on the field? Because to be
Hmm.
honest with you, T, I don't think Ridder plays this year unless Marcus
Hmm.
Mariota gets hurt. And
Hmm.
I think I'm not wishing any ill will on Marcus Mariota,
Hmm.
but he has not played a full season since he's been in
Right.
the NFL.
Oh,
And they've
absolutely.
added another game, so
Right.
he couldn't play 16. So there's no way I'm going to assume that he can play 17 for a 17 game schedule,
Mhm.
injury free. So I
Yeah.
think that that success before he actually gets playing time, it looks like understanding the why and getting to the point where he can really get a good grasp of this offense and building up rapport with his receivers. I think that's what success looks like for Desmond Ridder in 2022.
Right. And that's what I was going to say as well. In terms of the game slowing down for him, I think that's
Yeah.
going to be huge. I actually do expect him to play because when I look at the first 4 to 5 games for the Falcons,
Mm-hmm.
good luck, Mariota. I mean, really, good luck. So
Yeah,
yeah, if
yeah.
that
There's some
that
defensive
part,
lines
and careful.
on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah, they can
exactly.
get to the
Part and
quarterback.
parcel. It might happen, out of default, which I make that point because in addition to what you were sharing as well, that also depends on a young team, around him, if you will. He got some veterans
Right.
because I do think, honestly, we don't talk about Brian Edwards probably as much as, we should in some of the other receivers that the Falcons have added. But when we talk about the, you know, wide receiver one or tight end one, which really is like wide receiver 1A and 1B.
Right.
You've got
Exactly. Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, who's in the offense for a second season, but also he's got two new quarterbacks, right? That he's
Right.
trying to get a rhythm with and get in sync with. And then, of course, Drake London, who's somebody who, hey, he has to slow the game down for himself as well. So I think, yeah, those
Yeah.
are going to be critical factors. And it's interesting because Madden actually will, of course, adjust those ratings throughout the
The
season
season. Yep.
based on how those quarterbacks do. So I'm kind of interested if slash when Desmond Ridder plays, what those ratings look like, and what our definition, if it changes, of success will be like. Now, this was something else that I thought was interesting when it comes to those rookie ratings, right? It also gives full ratings for the Falcons quarterbacks. Now,
Mm-hmm.
so if you wanted to make a case for Desmond Ridder and what it might look like when he comes through, so Marcus Mariota, and it breaks it down for your overall, and Marcus Mariota is just a point ahead of Desmond Ridder, and that's somebody who's had years in the league. So I
Right.
think that speaks volumes for the rookie rating as well. Felipe Franks got the 59 because they're still rating him as the third quarterback, although we know that they could potentially play him elsewhere. And then for
Mm-hmm.
speed, they're dead even. Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder at 88, Franks at 84, and then acceleration, Desmond Ridder 91, Marcus Mariota 90, and Felipe Franks 85. But for me, Jarvis, the reason that kind of stood out was I said, well, and then I'm sorry, there's one more, agility. Marcus Mariota kind of gets him there from 87 to Ridder 79, Frank 78. But the fact that the rookie can actually stand up as far as the numbers go, and we know it's all on paper right now, but
Right.
that I still find is very, very interesting and maybe telling just in terms of some of those other factors that may play into what success looks like for Ritter, especially if, Patrick Mahomes joked about getting his speed up. But real talk, if Ritter can work on some of those things, because even Matt Ryan talked about that. Some half joking, but half serious last season about the fact that he knew he had to get up his speed and kind of, just have a quicker release and just overall put together his game faster. But again, when the game slows down for you, then those things pick up for you as well.
No doubt about it. And I think that Ritter is really even said himself that he, you know, thinks like he's like his comp probably is Marcus Mariota, and a lot of
Hmm.
people had felt some either way, you know, to the extreme, of course, on
Right.
both sides. Like, okay, if you're Marcus Mariota, shoot, that mean you're not going to be around here, you know, too
Right.
long, or you know, it's just a matter of he has some of some of the good qualities that Mark Mariota has,
Hmm.
excuse me, that those are some of the things that can transfer, and he can, you know, add his own little spin to it and be a successful quarterback in the NFL. So I think
Yes.
that these guys are closer than probably what we think so, or what we believe. But
Hmm.
as a matter of fact, you know, going forward though, I think that Ritter is a guy who he wants to pave his own way,
Yeah.
and I think that he'll be able to do that just by his mindset alone.
Hmm.
So. But I think that these guys are they're gonna be in a real competition
Yes.
in training camp, and like I said, once Ritter gets on the field, I think we'll be
Hmm.
able to clearly define what success look like for Ritter going forward.
Yeah, that's a great point because all of this is conjecture until week one, but even more so conjecture until training camp starts at the end of this week. And then you get to also see him in hopefully both of them rather, in joint practices. And then, of course, in the preseason, because we know Arthur Smith is probably going to play his starters or potential starters much more than he played them last year. So, yeah, that was just interesting to us. But when you look at the class, you can kind of see why Ritter was able to get that number one spot because, okay, who else was going to get it but Kenny Pickett, maybe on a good day. So,
Indeed,
anyway,
right.
speaking of good days, if you are somebody who likes chicken, but you like your chicken to be served a little differently, well, it might be a good day for you coming up. And also, we will talk about, and for the culture, a little something that makes this day even more special. We'll talk about it on the other side with ATL Day Ones.